Alright, what's up guys? In today's video, we're going to take a look at the MAC-10 and how to build the best class setup. In order to do that, what I want to take a look at is what is actually the most popular attachment setups to see what people are actually using in Warzone. So what I'm doing is take a look at what are the most popular class setups, what attachments they're using. Then we're going to break down those attachments to tell you guys which attachments are actually worth using and which class setups people are actually building wrong. So what you guys can see on the screen here is the top 15 most popular class setups that players are using right now in Warzone. And let me just tell you that the #1 class setup on here is actually probably the best way to build it. I'll break down that for you guys in just a minute on why. And then the next thing we're taking a look at is what are actually the most popular attachments people are using. I'll put it on the far side of the screen. Basically, this is breaking it down for you guys to basically go through. The #1 thing you guys will notice is 9 out of the 10 most popular class setups come with the ADC suppressor, the task force barrel, and the field agent grip, and that is because those are the best things to use. Then we take a look at the fast mag versus regular mag. Out of the first 7 classes, 4 out of the first 7 are actually using the fast mag and 3 are not using it. And let me tell you, that is wrong. The regular mag is actually better, which like I said, we break down for you guys as well. And then out of the first 20 most popular class setups, only 1 person actually used the 5 laser out of 20. So we're not really covering in depth on the lasers. And the most important factor to compare the biggest differences is actually the stock. You guys can see there's 4 different stocks and they all actually are getting use. So we're going to break down those stocks, which is probably the biggest discrepancy in the class setups. They're basically going to go through everything to tell you guys what is the best way to build this gun. So first things first, you guys will see the 3 most popular attachments. Obviously, like I said, task force, field agent, ADC suppressor. Everybody's using those for a specific reason. And when you guys hop on Cold War, you guys will see ADC suppressor increases your range and actually lowers your recoil on SMGs. With this gun having a fast fire and a pretty high recoil, definitely 100% worth using. And then you compare the field agent grip. The only popular grips is the foregrip, which basically does the same thing but not reducing your vertical, which makes the field agent better. And then the striker grip, as you guys know, reduces your vertical recoil. But when you compare the field agent grip, you get 10% better stabilization and 10% less recoil. With that bruiser grip, you're getting about 12% only vertical recoil reduction. So you're basically getting the same reduction as the field agent with no increase in the horizontal. So that is why the field agent is the best grip. It is very simple. And as I said, with that barrel, everybody is using the task force barrel for a reason. When we go through all the barrels, I'll basically showcase a little chart on the screen. You guys can see the task force gets a 50% increase and improved bullet velocity. The rifled is barely getting an increase, and then the reinforced heavy is barely getting an increase. And as the one thing you guys will see on the screen, with that rifled, you are getting a 15% less vertical recoil, but getting a significantly worse hip fire, so that basically makes this not worth using because your range increase is so minimal. In exchange, you get a terrible hip fire, which is a close range SMG. And then the same thing with the reinforced heavy. You're barely getting a range increase, which is like 1.5 meters, which you will not notice. In exchange, you get slightly better bullet velocity, which on a gun you're using in less than 25-meter range, bullet velocity is not going to factor into those gunfights at all. So that's what makes the task force the best barrel to use. Obviously, like I said, the next thing to look at is comparing the 53-round mag versus the fast mag. What we're taking a look at right now on the screen is we're going to break down the ammo as far as how fast it reloads versus fast mag versus regular. Then we're going to look at the ADS time. So with that fast mag, you do get a significantly worse ADS time, which is 100% noticeable. And with a close range weapon, having a slower ADS is actually going to affect your ability to win those gunfights. So this is the first reason why I think the regular mag is better. So basically what we're going to take a look at is we're going to notice when that crosshair disappears. That is basically where we're going to be fully aimed down sight. So you guys will see right here, right regular mag is completely and fully ADS, and you guys can see the fast mag is not even close. And if you go 1, 2, 3, almost done, about 4 frames. It takes anywhere from 3 to 4 frames to get fully ADS, which is anywhere between 50 and 70 milliseconds, which is gonna be the difference, especially with this weapon having an open bolt delay of 50 milliseconds. That will be the difference in you, in my opinion, winning or losing a gunfight. Difference in ADS is definitely noticeable in my opinion. 4 frames is pretty noticeable. And then when we go and we're gonna take a look at here, this is gonna be the reload time. So Basically, you're going to see how much faster that fast mag is over the regular mag, which I'm basically just going to fast forward. You guys can see the fast mag is like a millisecond faster. Let's get all the way to the end here so you guys can see they are still, this is like almost 2 seconds later, fully lined up. You guys will see in just a second here, the hand is ready. You guys will see the hand is ready. It takes 1, 2, 3 frames in order for the hand to be ready on the regular, which is going to allow you ADS again. So 3 frames faster reload, which is only 50 milliseconds, is 100% not worth using. If you compare the fast mag on the assault rifles, you get like a 25% faster reload. On this here, you're getting a 2.5% faster reload, which you won't even notice in game. In exchange, you get a significantly lower ADS, which on this gun is a 25% slower ADS. So if you do the math, I'm a mathematician, math guy, a 2.5% faster reload for a 25% slower ADS, those don't equal out. That's a 10-to-1 ratio, which you're not going to be able to counter back, which in my opinion is why the regular ammo is 100% worth using. Faster ADS and almost an identical reload time, which like I said, you will notice in games. So 100% stick with the regular mag. Next thing we're going to take a look at is going to be breaking down those stocks, which like I said, there are 4 different stock people using the wire stock, the no stock, the combat, and the raider. We're going to break down the differences between the 4 to determine which one's actually worth using. Look at their positives and their negatives, because this is the one thing, in my opinion, that's the most important factor in what makes the best class setup. And this is the only gun I've seen where pretty much everybody can't decide which one to use, and there's a lot of variety, which is good. But we're going to break it down to tell you guys which ones actually thinks are best and worth using for you. All right, so what we're taking a look at on the screen now is actual statistical increases you get with the 4 different stocks. As I said, the wire stock, the no stock, the combat, and the raider are the 4 most popular. The one thing I like to dismiss here, this is my own opinion, is the wire stock doesn't help you at all. To get a 9 millisecond faster sprint to fire and 25 millisecond faster tactical sprint to fire, you honestly won't notice in game unless you're playing at like 140 FPS or 240 FPS. Unless you're on PC, you won't even notice this increase. It doesn't increase your hip fire, doesn't increase your stray speed, nothing like that. So you get a very minimal increase. When, for example, with the raider stock or even the no stock, you get a faster sprint to fire. So I think the wire stock's useless. The no stock is definitely worth using because you do get the same sprint to fire improvement, which you definitely will notice, which definitely helps the MAC-10 because it's a close range weapon. In exchange, you do get a worse hip fire, which you definitely will notice. But in my opinion, the reason the no stock is worth using is the majority of players don't actually hip fire. So the next thing we're taking a look at is obviously the combat. I personally think this might be my favorite and best stock to recommend. The sprint to fire time is a very minimal percentage increase. With that combat stock getting a 13% faster stray speed, you definitely will notice that. It does get the same hip fire loss as you get with obviously the no stock, but a 13% faster stray speed, in my opinion, the stray speed is something I've always covered in my class setup. You definitely will notice because if you can strafe faster left to right, you actually will have an advantage over your opponent. So if you guys take a look at that factor of that shooting move speed, which we'll cover in just a second, but this is just what we're looking at here. The shooting move speed is a different factor, which the combat and the raider both have, which I'll cover in just a second, like I said. But the combat, based on statistically alone, in my opinion, is the best. The fact that the raider stock does improve your stray speed and does improve your sprint to fire, I rank it a very, very close second. And the fact that it does get a significantly worse hip fire, you will definitely notice that. But like I said, a majority of players don't actually hip fire. If you take a look at those class ups, like I said in the beginning, only 1 out of 20 players is actually going for improved hip fire with this gun. So in my opinion, the hip fire is definitely something you want to account for, but definitely not something you want to factor into your class setup. So the combat stock is number 1. The raider stock is a close second based on these stats. Now we're going to take a look at is obviously that shooting move speed, which you guys should know. We're going to test it out and find out which one's actually fast to determine which is the best stock between the combat and the raider. But give my just upfront opinion, the combat is number 1 in my opinion. You get the least amount of negatives and the sprint to fires is a very minimal increase. And that straight speed, in my opinion, is definitely something you will notice in your gunfight. So let's take a look at the shooting move speed real quick. So what we're going to take a look at next is the shooting move speed of the combat stock versus the raider stock. And you guys will see on the clip here, they're basically, long story short, almost identical. If you're kind of looking forward to see the biggest difference between the two, you guys can see I basically have them timed to be exactly the same. I have the angle the same, the wall, everything is pretty much the same. And you guys will see, just make it really short, simple, and easy. Once you get all the way to the very end, all 53 bullets shot, you guys can see they both pretty much end up stop shooting, and they're both at almost the exact same point. The raider stock is probably like 1 or 2% faster. So when you basically go through and compare all that stuff, the shooting move speed actually has zero effect in the comparison of the combat versus the raider stock to determine which is actually the best. So you basically go through and look at the stocks. To make it very short and simple, the wire stock gives you an improvement in sprint to fire, but it's very minimal, in my opinion, not worth using. When you take a look at the pros versus the cons, with the pro of the no stock, you do get a faster sprint to fire, but you don't get a strafe speed increase, which is not a negative, but doesn't help. And you do get a worse hip fire. So you get worse accuracy for a slightly faster ability to ADS, which in my opinion is not as good. With the combat stock, you get a faster shooting move speed. You get the fastest strafe speed, which definitely helps. But you don't get a faster sprint out, which in my opinion helps with a close range gun, and your hip fire is worse. So you have 2 negatives for 3 good positives. So when you take a look at the last one, the raider stock, faster sprint to fire, faster strafe speed, faster shooting move speed, and your only loss is you get a significantly worse hip fire. So 3-to-1 ratio. Yes, your hip fire is worse, but like I said, 99.9% of players, in my opinion, never hip fire this gun unless you're actually going for that class up with the 5 model laser. So after doing the testing, I would rate the raider stock as number 1, and I would put the combat stock a 1B because your strafe speed is faster, but your sprint to fire is not. So your ability to win more close range gunfights is a toss-up. Like I said, the fact that you get faster strafe speed, faster sprint to fire, this is going to help you more close range gunfights, in my opinion. And I try and build all my class setups to give me the most positives for the least negatives, so I have that much better of a gun. So I'm going to rank the combat stock as the number 1 stock to use. We're taking a look at now is the time to kill and the range, and basically that best class setup of stats in comparison to the other 3 most popular SMGs, to show you guys why this is the best gun to use in Warzone. So the last thing I want to take a look at was the time to kill of that MAC-10 versus the other most popular SMGs in the game. We're going to be comparing the MAC-10 versus the Cold War MP5, the Modern Warfare MP5, and the Bullfrog, which are all some of the most popular weapons in the game. You guys can see the class setups up here. Obviously, with the Bullfrog, MP5, MAC-10, they all run pretty much the exact same class setup. The only difference you'll notice, obviously, with that Bullfrog having incredible ammo, we are using a 5-mil laser to improve the hip fire. But you guys will see with that MAC-10, the reason it is number 1, yes, it does have a 50 millisecond open bolt delay, but it has the best range, which in my opinion is what makes this gun excellent. It does have a good bullet velocity, but with that massive range, you guys can see the Modern Warfare MP5 is about 11 meters, which is horrendous for range. This is still, in my opinion, a gun people are using. With that Cold War, it's about 15, and the Bullfrog basically has the best accuracy and has still an incredible range, but that MAC-10 at 25 meters, the range to me is an excellent factor because in that 25 meters, you can still do that same damage that obviously those other guns aren't doing, which in my opinion is what makes this gun excellent. So the next biggest factor, when you take a look at your overall stats of that best class setup, this is where it doesn't compete, in my opinion. The bullet velocity is average. The hip fire is below average. The only thing you're getting a big factor in is your mobility, your straight movement speed, and your strafe speed. The strafe speed is definitely 100% noticeable. It will help you win more gunfights. It's not that much better than the other guns, but definitely something you will help to notice when we're gunfights. And your movement speed is the fastest, which is one of the biggest benefits of it. And your ADS is pretty average, and your sprint to fire is the worst. So when you take a look at the mobility, the gun is not the best. But when you factor in that open bolt delay and that range, this gun is very, very competitive. And then once again, all the Cold War weapons basically have no recoil. So that's kind of what makes this gun incredible, in my opinion, is that range. It holds that damage the most out of any SMG. Kind of like the Kilo. The reason the Kilo is popular is it had the godliest range ever. And that's why everyone uses it, because you could do more damage at longer ranges. And even when you factor in your overall damage, it's actually tied with the Cold War MP5. So how much damage you're doing, you know, per second. Obviously, once again, like I said, with that range, you're going to get that damage. You guys can see the only gun that competes even above 15 meters is that Bullfrog, which is still not the most popular. So if you take the Bullfrog off, you compare this to the two MP5s, you guys can see from that 15, even 11 meter range to 25 meters, this gun is doing incredibly more damage than both those guns, which that is the biggest factor. Is you're doing incredible damage, you have the most ammo, and it just has the best range, which in my opinion, those are the biggest factors to help you win more gunfights and have a better gun for Warzone. So it's a pretty long video and it's pretty far in depth. I want to give you guys the best video possible to help you build the best class setup. So if anything you guys learned in the video did help you out, please make sure you guys leave a like and a comment down below, and make sure you guys are subscribed with notifications on. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Make sure you guys use my discount code on all of your Scuff and GFUEL purchases, and I'll see you.